Okay, we are back with the Washington Commanders. Angel, no shame, awarded himself the Washington Commanders offseason with $80 million in cap space and made the best rookie quarterback of all time. Take it away, Angel, and do whatever you want because you have all the cap space in the world.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun offseason for this exercise. Yeah, but in real life too, the Commanders had a rookie quarterback who's one of the best in his division. One of the whenever you have a superstar quarterback on a rookie deal, the sky's the limit because you could pay everybody. You could whoever you want, overpay,
Right.
overpay, overpay because you can. Yeah, I didn't go too crazy though. I gave him guys who I thought would be good for like future and like kind of like good now, but better at like long term wise. I was thinking more long term for them. Let's just start off with right off the bat, wide receiver Chris Godwin, coming off a fractured ankle. Obviously, last year in 7 games, 50 catches, 576 yards, 5 touchdowns, was on pace for a record for a career year, obviously, and then he got hurt. I think pairing him with Scary Terry would make a legit 1-2. Last year, it was just Scary Terry. Terry McLaurin making doing all the plays. Zach Ertz doing what he could, whatever. But I think Godwin will give him another weapon who's different. That's what I like about him and Terry's more of a perimeter guy. He gets over the middle stuff, obviously, but Godwin operates that short to intermediate role. Say you don't sign back Ertz, and you have to. Last year they drafted Sanat in like the third or fourth round, tight end. Maybe he becomes the star this year and he comes on a little bit slower. You have Godwin there to fill in that gap, and obviously in the playoffs, you want playmakers everywhere that you can get them. So Chris Godwin
Yeah.
here, I think a solid fit, right? I think this is a nice fit to pair with Scary Terry.
I love Chris Godwin. I love Chris Godwin, the football player, the man. I think he is just the exact type of guy you want in your football team. And if you, I mean, they have championship aspirations right now. You go talk to Commanders fans, and they certainly have championship aspirations. And you
Yeah,
should. You have a great young quarterback, and you have a window here where you don't have to pay him. And so go take a swing at Chris Godwin. I don't think the injury thing is as big of a deal. It's a broken ankle that can happen to anyone at any time. He doesn't have a history of broken bones. He just plays football and he got hurt. And so I think he comes back just fine. Maybe start slow, whatever, but 3 years, 6, 7 million, or however long you want to sign him, this is not just for this year. This is a guy you can have in house for a couple years. I kind of think of him as the wide receiver version of a little bit younger Zach Ertz. Like, just he's going to be a safety blanket where he needs to be. And I think something Jay Daniels didn't get the credit for last year. Yeah, he was dynamic. Yeah, he made big plays with his arms. He was like a supercomputer with reading the field
yeah,
and finding guys and throwing guys wide open. Guys like Olamide Zaccheaus and Noah Brown. Switch those guys in with Chris Godwin, and this is a different type of team. Some of
yeah,
these underneath routes are a lot bigger gains. The ball security is much better. He's also a great run blocker. So with a running quarterback, I think of Jaden Daniels taking off down the field and Chris Godwin just erasing a safety or a cornerback. I think it's a great fit. It's a great locker room fit, which they've shown that means something to them. The
yeah.
character guys in the locker room mean something to them. Chris Godwin checks that box as well. And I'll say this: I love this list, and we kind of joked about like, just signing everyone. The Commanders have shown they're aggressive. They signed everyone last year. They just
Yeah,
started signing guys, and so
yeah.
this isn't out of the realm of possibility that they can make these kind of moves. And I think starting Chris Godwin's super solid. But I love your next one probably even more. Go ahead.
Really? Patrick McCarry, swing tackle, offensive guard. Look, Sam Cosmi is their best lineman. He's out for the year, and if he
Right.
does come back, he'll be in the playoffs. You need a guy who's like, you can start, but don't have to commit yourself too long term. Give McCarry a 2-year deal. Let him be the right guard, and then he comes back next year. If when Sam Cosmi comes back, make him maybe at that point. Andrew Wiley's ready to go. You put him at right tackle, you put Cosmi there back at right guard. It's a more of trying to you have to just deal with Sam Cosmi being out without overpaying or
Yeah.
like there's no guard besides Trey Smith who I would just sign and give a big deal to. Like he's right at the top, and then it falls to a bunch of average or older guards. I was gonna give him Zettler, but Zettler feel like he's 34, so
Yeah.
he's good this year. You don't play long term. McCarry's been a solid swing tackle. He played left guard for the Ravens last year. He's played right tackle, played left tackle, a very versatile lineman. They did get eaten up by Philadelphia in the playoffs last year, but everyone did. Like that's just what the Philadelphia. I'm not going to put too much on that. I think this is a solid signing and a responsible signing. This would be a signing that would tell me they're a mature team that knows what they need and what they don't need. You don't need
Yeah.
heavy contracts for average players. You know, give him a regular deal for a regular player because his position versatility and the need there at right guard is so evident. And then you can maybe draft a guard and see who wins that line that competition, and maybe the card doesn't even play. So it's a nice safety blanket.
I like Makari not because so much of the player, but just I am all for, even before wide receiver, offensive line. Build this offensive line, build this running game, and you get Jaden Daniels behind a line like that and running it behind that, and it's going to be a huge problem for the whole league. Um, Other names I want to throw in here for the mixed offensive line, I think in Ronnie Stanley. I'm thinking, is it James Daniels out of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, James. Yeah. Those were guys, but I feel like you'd have to get Stanley to commit to right tackle.
Yeah,
Well, they have a weird thing going because could be a cap cut, so this could all change in a week if Wiley gets cut. But yeah,
yeah.
obviously any lineman there would be a a nice signing for them.
They got a ton of money. So my point is just, I'm down for all the money they want to throw at the offensive line.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. Go do it.
yeah,
I think it's the right move,
yeah.
and yeah, that's why I like Makari. And yeah, I think it's a good place to start here with Chris Godwin, Makari, and then let's see what else you got going on here. Let me switch it back over. Ooh,
Next I have him signing middle linebacker Nick Bolton, obviously 26 years old. Last year, Bobby Wagner did an admirable job. That he's a solid linebacker.
he's
I
a
think
free
you need
agent
a
now.
linebacker captain of the future. I think you get Nick Bolton there, have him be the centerpiece, the quarterback of that new defense that Dan Quinn is trying to create. I think him next to Luvu is a great one too. Both
Wow.
play the run well. Wagner, for all he's good at, he wasn't great in the run last year. You know what you need to do in the NFC East, stop the run. Especially if the Cowboys draft Genty and the Eagles have Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. You need
Yeah.
a thumper linebacker who's not all thump. He's a little bit more of a dancer than like people give him credit for. Yeah, I think Bolton there is a solid sign, and they can afford it. They can afford. They have all this money, and there's a guy in his prime, Super Bowl caliber, Super Bowl experience in his
Yeah.
prime, a position of like need that's been one of the first signings that Dan Quinn had was a middle linebacker. It's a big position for him and his defensive mindset. I think this is my favorite besides Godwin. No, I like this over Godwin. Right, this is probably
Yeah.
my favorite.
This is I think most likely to happen. Like that we things that we talked about today. He, Nick Bolton's gonna get a lot of money.
Yeah,
Spocek projected him 4 years, just under 50 million. He might get up to 55. He's gonna be the highest paid middle linebacker in the league
yeah,
because he's just 25, I think. Still, he's
yeah. It's
played in
young.
multiple Super Bowls. Like he's a high character guy. He's durable. He's like everything you want to build your defense around is Nick Bolton. And here's a team with $80 million in cap. It just makes too much sense not to happen.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this, and it's him and Luvu together is something you could really build off as a defense there with Dan Quinn. I love the move.
Yeah, and then lastly, I picked a re-sign Jeremy Chin. Had his best year since his rookie year. If you guys don't remember his rookie year when he came out, everyone thought he was the next best thing. And then
Yeah,
he had a couple of years because it was in Carolina. But he's just another example of when someone leaves Carolina, they become what they're supposed to be. Jeremy Chin is a very good, very very
yeah,
good safety, and Dan Quinn has always liked these bigger, strong safeties. Obviously, Cam Chancellor's like the guy for that, but he likes these bigger, strong safeties that he could put in the box, put in nickel. Yeah, I think he found his home there, and I think Dan Quinn like last year's deal was so great, and they could afford to pay him now. I think this is a perfect fit, and he's young
I
enough to where you could see a
yeah.
future there.
I think you're starting to build something here on defense. You get Jerron Payne and Jonathan Allen up front, Nick Bolton and Luvu in your second level. Jeremy Chin now. You brought in Marcus Lattimore last year. Let him get healthy, acclimated to this defense. You now got some real talent on this defense. I was I was so confident that the Eagles were going to beat the Commanders, not because of Jaden Daniels or anything going on offense. I just knew they could not stop anything on defense.
Yeah.
The run, they could be bullied, they can just be run over, and that's what happened. And so I think you do need to attack the offseason like this, with just let's go get blue chip talent on the defensive side of the ball. Jaden Daniels is going to be able to make the most out of whatever we do on the offensive side. And Cliff Kingsbury's back. Let's invest in that defense and let's make a real run. I like it, but I love what you did here with the draft.
Yeah. In the draft here, obviously they picked late because they got to the title game. But I think if this falls to their lap, they're going to jump all over it. Trayvon Henderson, Ohio State running back. Listen, we saw last year. Let's just stick with last year's philosophy for the Washington Commanders. Austin Eckler in conjunction with Brian Robinson. Austin Eckler is not what he once was, but even when he was on the field, you could see the balance and last year 44% running back share went to Brian Robinson, and that was their lead back. Obviously, they like to split things up. Austin Eckler had 34%. I think you switch that out, but Traylon Henderson there, who's projected to be like a change of pace, maybe like a 1A or 1B back, not really a workhorse, but part of a system. I think him and Brian Robinson, you become a lesser version of what the Lions have, with the Montgomery and Gibbs. I think you create a running game that is that one scares people and two is versatile, because Brian Robinson isn't a terrible pass catcher, but Traylon Henderson is a fantastic pass catcher who you can split out wide, split out in the slot. Yeah, I think if they were to draft Traylon Henderson and get Godwin, the playmakers around Jaden Daniels have just increased by a crazy margin, which is what you want to do from year to year. You want to make sure you're a quarterback. You have it. Let's be aggressive. Let's give him a running back. Let's give him a wideout. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I thought. I was going to give him tackle, but I gave them Macari. So Patrick Macari. So I kind of solved that. So I had a little fun here and Henderson just a good fit.
I think Henderson would be awesome, and him and Brian Robinson would be formidable. I like when the Commanders I think were at their best is when they play fast. That's what Cliff Kingsbury wants to do. That's what Jaden Daniels did in college. That's where they're at their best. Get the defense on their heels and just let Jaden Daniels pick you apart. Let him run. Let him, whatever it is. And I think you get someone like Travion Henderson. Austin Eckler, I think, did the best that he could. I think we saw better football from Austin Eckler that we expected. Yeah. He had a great year. But there's obviously limitations there. He was hurt a lot. I think Travion Henderson in a fast-moving offense and just Brian Robinson as more of that short yardage, mix-in type of, kind of wear him down maybe in the fourth quarter type running back. Yeah. And I think you're really, really cooking here. Also want to note, it's a very deep tight end draft. And so maybe if a Loveland falls, something like that in the second round, maybe you also get a young tight end as well. And just like that, you have all the weapons you need. This. Listen, man, this team played in the national the NFC title game. And their NFC title game, $80 million in cap space and a young quarterback. It's going to be fun. And you should be excited, Washington, because you haven't had this kind of success in my whole lifetime. Yeah. So it's fun.
Yeah, the Washington team, it was funny. I don't want to go too crazy with I was thinking T. Higgins and Trey Smith and everybody. But this is more guys that would fit their kind of style. Like they're a fast-paced offense. You get a bunch of fast-paced you get a slot guy, then you get a running back. Yeah, the Washington Commanders are going to be everyone's sexy pick, and we think if they have an offseason like this, like I just laid out, everyone the projection is going to go crazy.
And everyone's on the board. Let's be fair.
Yeah,
they could do whatever they want. This is what you would do, but they could do whatever they want with all that cap space, and I love it.
This segment is brought to you by Dad Gang Hats. Dad Gang makes the highest quality hats in the apparel industry because they use premium materials, pay close attention to detail, and prioritize durability and comfort. With so many styles, colors, and designs, they absolutely have the right hat for you and the dad in your life. Use code BENCHED76826. That's BENCHD 76826 for 15% off your first purchase. Shop Dad Gang Hats, quality hats for quality dads.